Hey, and good morning. We are live this morning with Omuugn, and today we are reading from the Insights and Wisdom of Omuugn, and we are on pages 191 through 196. And I'm really excited about today's topic because today we're talking about energy. And I'm going to read from this book because there are a couple things we all need to know. One of the ideas in the insights says we should free ourselves from persons and situations that drain our energy. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my goodness, I finally arrived at the right topic because there are people in our lives that drain us of our energy. So today we're going to unpack that. And if you're new to us, I'm Angela Brown and I'm here with Omuugn. And the series we're reading from is Volume 1 on the Insights and Wisdom of Omuugn. This is available now online. This is Volume 1 of Volume 2. There are two in the series. And every single week we are unpacking the different concepts in this book to help you be a better leader, a better manager, and a better parent. And so please help me welcome today's topic on energy, Omuugn. How are you today?
Well, it's good to be here. It's a beautiful spring day in Eastern Oregon. So things are looking really, really good.
And when you say spring, does that mean there's no snow on the ground?
There's no snow on the ground. And I'm starting to start all of my seeds and the garden produce that we're going to have this year in our gardens. So it's a busy time, but a really, really exciting time. New beginnings.
Well, it's exciting for us because today's topic is on energy. And if you're planting seedlings right now, when the snow has just escaped us, what this tells me is that you're channeling the energy of growth into your spring and your summer.
I was in the greenhouse this morning, and this is a lemon off of one of my citrus trees that I just picked for like 5 minutes ago.
Oh my goodness.
So
and for those of you that are just watching and those of you that are watching the replay, it happens to be February 24th when we're recording this. So here's Omuugn growing lemons in the dead of the winter. I'm going to say that's positive channeling of energy. So there you go.
It's really fun.
I also want to welcome our guests. Meditation Mojo says hello from Southern Virginia. And that lemon is so huge. And yes, it is. So hello, Meditation Mojo. We're grateful that you've joined us today. And energy is an interesting topic. So first, before we talk about refraining from hanging out with negative people, tell us in your own words what negative energy, or tell us what energy is. And first, I want to say hello to Julie, who says good morning. Good, beautiful morning from Central Oregon. So hi, you guys, and welcome.
Energy has many different perspectives. From a scientific and a physicist, they look at energy as the capacity basically to do work, whether it's an individual or a system. And they look at different kinds of energy. For example, you have kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion, or potential energy held in the reservoirs of our lakes, and the wind is a potential energy that we can extract through the utilization of windmills. There's also not potential, but chemical energy that's held within the chemical compounds of different substances. We can put them together and release copious quantities of energy. There's also electromagnetic energy that we all utilize for all of our electricity needs. Scientists say that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it transforms from one state to another. There's also what we call spiritual energy, or multidimensional energy that we can't really put our fingers on. There are things, for example, that keep our heart pumping and digestion going in our bodies and different processes going that we're not consciously controlling. They're operating, but it takes energy to do all of that. And so our body is producing on the cellular level energy that enables all of these things to take place all of the time. So the Eastern countries like India and China, they look at energy very differently than we do in the Western world. In the Western world, we're kind of hands-on scientific energy, and that's the way we do our medicine and our healing and different things. We use pharmaceuticals and visits to the doctor and on and on. You know how we work. But in the Eastern cultures, they use energy, and they control the energy flow through the body. In India, it's the nadis that channel the energy based mainly on the spinal column. And in China, they have the qi or qi, which circulates through, they call them meridians in the body. And we have sciences that grow out of that kind of thing, like the acupuncture, the acupressure, and the healing massage and things like that. So different kinds of cultures and societies look at energy differently. And there's so much information on energy that actually books have been written about every aspect that we're talking about. So we can't be too comprehensive in any of these areas. But what I would like to do in this meeting today is elaborate on the point that we can be more aware of energy, how we use it, how we store it, how we actually produce it in our own bodies. And we need to relate to energy in ways maybe that we haven't before, consciously, meditatively, using multidimensional or spiritual disciplines to do that. And so we can go in all kinds of directions depending on what we're interested in talking about this morning.
If we were to go back to a very gum bean place, let's say that we're just really brand new to energy and we understand that other places around the world are using energy for, beneficial means, how would we, if we were just getting started, how would we start to become aware of the energy in our lives so that we then have choices on how we want to use that?
A lot of it just depends on your interest. For example, there was a Swiss scientist called Victor Schellenberger, and he studied the nature of water. And if we look at energy, it's going to come through either earth, air, fire, or water, and usually a combination of all. For example, in a garden, we have sunshine, which is the fire. We have the earth that has all of the elements for things to grow. We have the water that nourishes the plants. And we have the air that circulates through and makes everything healthy. So if you combine all of those things, you have an energy that is accessible to us in a lot of different ways. An interesting one that Victor designed was called the vortex machine, and I made one for myself. I saw on the internet one day a machine that actually creates vortexed water. It structures the water, and you can create a vortex, and the water will drop from one chamber into another chamber. And what this does is it oxygenates the water. You can see it bubbling like a bubbler in a fish tank. And then it drops through a magnetic field. I've put magnets around the lids of these bottles. And then the water swirls around, and you can do it clockwise or counterclockwise, either way. And the water has different properties when you do that. The energy flows through water differently when you do that. There was a Japanese scientist called Masaru Emoto, and he wrote a book called The Miracles of Water or something like that. And he photographed water crystals under an electron microscope. And he showed that water can be programmed. And it's interesting because we are mostly water. Our brains are like 90% water, and our muscles are like 70% water, and our bones are like 60 or 50% water. So if you can program water, you can actually program the water that's in your body to do certain things, like if you want vibrant health. For example, I checked my water that came out of my tap that we have at the house. And the pH balance of water is really important. And most of the things that come into our life are acidic. And disease originates from an acidic environment, usually. Or if things are way too alkaline, it will cause disease. So
I
you
want to
want
stop
to,
you right there for the folks that are new to the pH scale. It ranges on a series from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral in the middle. And in a perfect world, your water would be 7, which is neutral. The acid is 0, and the alkalines are 14. The pH scale is a logarithmic scale, which means every number is 10 times stronger than the number before it or the number after it. And so if you have 7, 8 would be 10 times stronger than 7, and then 9 would be 10 times stronger than 8. And so that's how that works, which makes the acidic on the 0 scale really strong, and the alkaline on the other side of the scale, on the 14 side, really strong. Just wanted to send that out as a reminder. Now, where was your tap water when you brought that out of your home?
well, when I tested my tap water, it came out at a 6.
Okay.
And so that's on the acidic scale. And it's interesting that grains are acidic and dairy products are acidic and meat is acidic. And so a lot of the things that are in our diet, like breads and rice and even beans and any of the meat products, we're consuming a lot of acidic things. And then if our water is acidic, then we tend to kind of move into that acidic part of the scale where disease and a lot of chronic conditions can begin. And so, like you say, 7.3 is the ideal. It's just a little bit on the alkaline side. And so when I ran my water through this machine, it went from 6 to 8.5.
Whoa.
And I found this bottle. Glass would be always preferable over plastic, but I couldn't find a glass one. And so you have a shape that you can vortex the water in. Water can spin around this because it's round. And these are quite easy to find in the grocery store. What you want to look for if you want to make your own, you want a lid that is larger. Most lids are smaller. But if you get a larger lid, you can drill a hole in it. You can take 2 lids and glue them together, which is what I did here. These are just 2 lids glued together. And then I drilled a hole in the center, and the water vortexes through that hole through this magnetic field. I got some neodymium magnets and glued them on the outside, which creates a magnetic field. And what this does is it breaks the surface tension of the water. If you fill a glass full of water, you can actually fill it higher than the rim of the glass because of the surface tension. But when you when you structure the water through a vortexer, it breaks that surface tension. And when the water is trying to go into the cellular structures of your body, it's easier for water to do that if you have decreased the surface tension. So what you do when you structure your water is you raise the pH factor, in my case, from a 6 to an 8.5, and then you reduce the surface tension, and then you oxygenate the water as it goes through the vortex process of dropping from one cylinder into another. It has that bubbling effect, which puts more oxygen in the water. And oxygen is really, really healthy. So there are little things that you can do like that, that you can create your own methodology for increasing the energy that's extracted, for example, from the water that you drink. And it makes it more efficient for you to do that. And it helps you to raise your pH, because if your diet is primarily acidic, grains, dairy, or meat, you need to move over to the green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables and organic fruits are supposed to be 80% of your diet. And then you complement that with the 20% of carbohydrates and protein and fats. And so that gives you kind of a balanced diet. We have a tendency in the Western culture to predominantly eat the acidic things and not so much of the alkaline things.
Would you
And
say that
so,
eating the acidic things would have maybe a negative effect on our physiology, which then would make us channel negative energy in our day-to-day communications with other people?
well, yeah, it's going to have an impact. Energy isn't just energy. For example, there's positive energy and there's negative energy. Positive energy tends to have a higher vibration. So if you look at things like love and gratitude and some of these really positive emotions, it's because positive energy is flowing. And if you get to a condition where you're, say, depressed or you're bored or any negative thing, it's because energy is not flowing through your system. In fact, if energy flows into you and it doesn't flow out of you, it kind of stagnates. And that stagnate condition is the beginning of chronic conditions, health conditions. And depression can be a chronic thing for some people. And so we want to keep our energy positive. So we need to be aware of the direction that our energy is flowing. Like you mentioned at the very beginning of the introduction, sometimes we're around people who extract energy from us and they have a negative energy. And people who have a negative energy to a large degree want to have a positive energy. And so if they're around people that have positive energy, that's how they get their energy. Instead of structuring their water, and instead of eating good foods and have a good healthy diet and exercising and sleep properly, instead of getting their energy that way, they get their energy by sucking the energy out of positive people.
No, I don't like that. Well,
So we have,
I'm glad that you brought that up because that's really important. I think there are a lot of people that wake up every day and they're drifting aimlessly through the day and they're not conscientious of the energy that is in their sphere. And so they don't understand that maybe they woke up they say I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And maybe that means they woke up feeling blah or they have a bad diet, which is then triggering this domino effect of feeling awful and negative and not feeling great. And then they go out into the day and they try to perform whatever duties they're supposed to perform. And they're coming from a place of, I feel icky, I feel blah, I feel tired, I feel worn out. People say, I woke up and I felt like a Mack truck hit me. I hear this a lot in the cleaning business. I don't have enough energy to get through the day. I'm completely exhausted. There are all these series of comments that people are making that suggest that they don't have either a diet or a health plan that supports their high level of energy, which is then used to infuse all the rest of the daily activities. So I'm really glad that you started with the nutritional concept of energy and how to kind of maintain that positive influence. All right, so let's say that we have channeled our water and our diet, and we're at a place of health and wellness, and we are in a situation where every day we go out into the world, and then we are attacked by these people that latch onto that energy and they're just draining it and sucking it out of us. How do you become aware of that?
Well, first of all, you have to become aware of energy itself. Like I say, if you are aware of whether energy is positive or negative, that's the beginning. Let me take a step back because it's kind of a critical idea to work on. There are different ways in which we extract energy from things. For example, there's energy, according to the Eastern philosophies, there's energy in the air we breathe. But most people don't breathe properly. And the way we breathe gives us enough energy to stay alive, but we don't really feel vibrant and healthy. How many times are you around people who say, "Oh, I'm so excited today. I'm full of energy. I want to work. I want to run and exercise. I want to go to the gym. I want to enjoy nature. I just want to do things because I'm so full of this vital energy." Most of the time, you're going to hear people say, "Oh, I have to go to the gym today," or "I'm going to go to the gym today. I don't really want to, but I know that I'll feel better if I do. And I don't have enough energy really to go to work, but I have to because I have to provide for my family." And it's just kind of a negative thing.
Stop right there. I want to throw out because I don't want to lose this. And this is really important what you're saying. In our company, we ran into that exact same thing. So we changed at a company level. When a customer calls and says, "I need XYZ," instead of saying, "Well, I'll have to get this for you," we changed the word have to get to. I get to do this, that, and the other in order to make this work for you. Instead of "I have to go to work today," I get to go to work today. I have to go to the gym, I get to go to the gym. I have to go make dinner, I get to go make dinner. It changes the whole philosophy of exactly what you're talking about. Change the
You
words
can
have to
also
get to.
you can also inject the word love. I
I'd
would
love
love to
to.
go to the gym.
I
I
would
would
love to go to
love
the
to
gym.
help you. I'm excited to help you.
That's even better. I love that. That's fantastic. And
So
that's something
anyway,
that anybody watching today, that's something you can implement today. So there's an actionable tip for you. And it didn't even come from the book. So there's a freebie for you.
another there are books actually written about how to breathe correctly.
Mm,
And one of the methodologies that has been beneficial for me is that you breathe in for like the count of 5,
mm.
and you want to build that up maybe to 7 or even to 9 as you expand your lungs and you get stronger and healthier. But breathe in at a controlled rate at, say, a 5 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you hold your breath for 5 counts. And then you slowly release your breath for 5 counts. And then you just wait for 5 counts. And then you start the process over again. And what that process does is it allows your body to extract the prana or the energy from the air.
Stop right
Because
there. Stop right there. That same exact process is what smokers do. When they're inhaling on a hit of nicotine, they do that exact process. They inhale, they hold it, they release it really slowly. And if you do that without the nicotine, oh my goodness. So it's like a smoking break without the smoke. It's just the breathing. And the good news is what Omuugn is telling us right now. And I love this. At the end, there's no tar in your lungs and there's no emphysema headed your way. I love that. All right. Thanks for sharing that with us.
another thing that you can do, because our brain has 2 hemispheres, a right and a left, and they have basically different functions. You can close one of your nostrils and go through the same process, only breathing through one nostril. Breathe in through your nostril and out through your mouth, and do that same thing, and then switch your nostrils. And that's another one. There's also another fellow. His name is Wim Hof.
Mm,
He's called the Iceman.
mm.
And he has a technique of breathing where you breathe in and out as fast as you can, as deeply as you can, 30 times.
Ice water will do that to you.
And then and then you do it again, and then you do it again. You do it 3 times. And what you will feel is energy. You will feel tingly. You'll feel the oxygen filling your system, and you're just going to have a lot more energy. Jumping into the ice water will have some of the same effect. I'm working on that. I started with my little finger, and I'm going to I'm going to work up.
So I want to tell you about Wim Hof real quick because I'm glad you bring this up. And it is the process of just changing the whole approach to your health and wellness. There are a series of benefits that come from ice water showers. And when I turned 52, I have been there, done that. I said, what will I do different this year? And I decided that the cold showers in the morning was one of those things. Don't ask me why. So I get up there and I take a cold shower. And like you said, I mean, it comes naturally. You don't even have to count. It just will shock the bones off of you. But you start out with a warm shower and then you slowly turn the faucet until it's ice cold and then hold it for 30 seconds. And you can do this right now in any shower. Just start out doing it. So, and then every day it will get a little bit longer and you can take a little bit longer, colder shower. So as I started doing this, I hated it. I mean, like nobody is like comfortable with ice cold. So the next day I was like, that was the stupidest thing I have ever done. But the day that I tried it, I had all this energy throughout the day. So then the next day I didn't do it. And I felt kind of blah during the day. And I was like, no, don't tell me that the ice shower made a difference. So then the next day I did the ice shower again and I had all this energy throughout the day. Then the next day I was like, this is so foolish. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm now in the 50s. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. So I mean, like nobody's watching, right? The only person that's making me do this is myself. So the next day I did it again and I had all this energy and I'm like, well, I'll be if the ice showers don't give me more energy lasting throughout the day. This is so crazy. And I kept trying it on, off, on, off. And the days that I did not do the ice shower, I kind of muddled my way through the day. But the days that I did the ice shower, I was like, whoa, I feel great. And then I'm like, what is the price of feeling so great? And I'm like, I got to do this ice shower thing. So as crazy as it sounds, because it sounds super crazy to me, a logical, sound, sane person does not take cold showers, right? Yeah, they do. And so it worked. So as crazy as it is, I want you guys to try it. And I want you to report back in the notes if you've tried it. Did it work for you? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Because I'm a believer, but I didn't want to be. All the skepticism around the ice showers was like, I don't think so. That doesn't make any sense. Then when I did it, I'm like, I hate it, but it makes sense.
Actually, taking ice baths or showers will never become a habit. It's something that you consciously choose to do.
Every day you choose consciously.
Every day you choose to do that. And another thing you can do to increase your energy, when you first get up in the morning, sit on the edge of your bed and raise your hands high in the air and say, yes, I am so excited to engage in this new day. This is a day full of possibilities, and I want to accomplish so many things today. And I have the energy to do that. And your attitude will draw energy into your body. And you tell your body, we want to produce energy today. I want all of the cells in my body to produce energy. I want the mitochondria to produce all of those sugars and all those things that I need to really be active. And so it's a good way to start your day and to bring energy into your day instead of getting up and
I want to add to that. Instead of just sitting up on your bed and raising your hands going, yes, I feel great. If you'll get out of the bed and you'll actually jump and make your feet come off the floor. Because there's something about just getting up and kind of like hobbling out of bed. And there's another thing about jumping to where your feet come off the floor. And if your feet come off the floor, it is really hard to go, yeah, here I go again. It's like, whoa, I just jumped really high.
well, actually, I hadn't finished. That is really the next thing you do.
Okay.
And not only that, but every part of your body is designed to move. And so you want to shake your hands vigorously for 30 seconds. Shake them in different ways. You know, move your arms, move your legs, bend over, You get all of the parts of your body moving, and it's just a way to awaken yourself to a whole new reality. Instead of dragging through the day and fighting everything, it energizes you and just puts you in a positive mindset. And so it's really, really valuable that you do that.
Julie Brown says the cold showers and deep breathing are powerful. It also boosts the immune system and burns fat. So thank you, Julie, for validating my craziness of taking the cold showers. You're right. In addition to what Omuugn just said, one of the things that I have found, in addition to just shaking your hands and getting up and moving, is I actually set my gym time for first thing in the morning. Because while I'm in the process of waking up and pulling my thoughts together for the day, what I have discovered for me is when I get out and I go work out first thing in the morning. It's the very first thing I do beyond after I take, a full 16 ounces of water and I get my day off the ground. What it does is it allows me to disconnect. And I usually go to the swimming pool so that I don't have podcasts and I don't have YouTube and I don't have email and I don't have other distractions for the day. It's literally a 1 hour meditation where I'm physically working out. And I say meditation because I will probably never be one of these people that just sits there silently and meditates. I don't know how to do that. But if I'm swimming, I'm rhythmically moving all of the different, parts of my body, and I'm exercising all the different muscles. I've got oxygen and blood flowing through my body, but I'm alone with my thoughts. And so that's where I work out a lot of the different details of my day and my business and my personal life. It's 1 hour disconnected where I'm literally 1 hour alone with my creator. And my physical body is doing what it's doing while my mind is free then to just explore different ideas and possibilities.
That's really good. There's also a technique called walking meditation where you do the same thing. You go out into nature and you're kind of aware of the streams and the trees and the growth around you while you're walking, and you let those thoughts flow through your mind. But I will say, however, that it's important at times to sit still and quiet all of your systems and to meditate in the stillness and the quiet without any activity, without any movement. Just let your mind do the exercising.
I'm working my way up to that. I think I'm like the ADHD personality where I got to be doing something, So I'm working my way towards that.
Another thing that's critical is our nutrition. And we've talked about this before, but when we talk about energy, we need to talk about it again. The first thing is the way we eat. A lot of people don't really masticate their food well. They don't chew very well. Part of the digestive process begins with the saliva in the mouth. And so we should eat slowly. We should chew our food really, really well. And we should learn to taste the foods. If you're eating a mixed salad, can you taste the parsley in it? Can you taste the lettuce in it? Can you taste the chard in it? Can you taste the cruciferous vegetables like the cabbage? Can you sense the different tastes? What you're trying to do is to extract the prana or the energy out of the food. And your body does that through taste, through thorough mastication. And then we have to talk about healthy food. Our farming techniques today have decreased the nutrient value of our food. When farmers fertilize their fields now, they have fertilizers that are high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. And so what we want to do is put the nutrients into the soil. And that's one of the reasons why if you have a home garden and you grow some of your own things, you can control all of those factors. They have, it's a mineral powder called zeolite, and there's one called azomite. And you can add those powders into your soil, and they contain all of the minerals and all of the nutrients that your body needs. And it's
If
in
you're
a
not a
form.
gardener like myself, I'm not a gardener. I live in a city and I don't have a garden and probably won't. Would you recommend that I go to a farmer's market or that I buy organic foods that maybe have some of these chemicals inside the soil?
Oh, absolutely. If you're shopping from a farmer's market, talk to the people who are selling the produce. Make sure that it's organic, that they don't use pesticides. And sometimes, depending on where you live, farmers markets are not available to everyone all through the year. So you want to have some kind of a system. I was I was at the dollar store the other day, and I found these trays. So you can actually have a potted plant in your windowsill, and the water won't run out and ruin your windowsill. And I found these stackable growing things where you can actually have a vertical garden. You can grow different vegetables in each one of these areas, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. So you can, if you have a window, the floor in front of a window that gets a little bit of light, you can actually grow some things in a pot that's very, very nutritious. In fact, I was in my greenhouse this morning, and this is one of my aloe vera plants. And this is a small one because I didn't want to bring a big one in. I have some that are like 7 or 8 times larger than this. And you can grow this in a windowsill or on the floor in front of a window. There are a lot of things that you can do to produce your own food. And so, with a little bit of thought, with a little bit of preparation, you can find ways to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. But we want to get away from pesticides and herbicides and depleted soils. When we eat food, we want our food to contain all of the minerals, all of the nutrients. Like this aloe vera plant I just showed you has 18 of the 21 amino acids that our body utilizes.
Before you tell us about the aloe vera, Meditation Mojo says, can you tell us again what that was to add to the soil?
Uh,
Imagine someone having the pots that you suggested in a city. What would they then put to the soil to add that?
well, you'd have to go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's or some farmer's supply house and just buy bags of they have potting soil, they have uh, different types of soils for starting plants and growing plants. They have peat mosses, they have cocoa coir, different elements to put into your soil that will keep your soil aerated.
Does
So
that have
that
the azomite and the other stuff in that?
no, usually it doesn't.
Okay, where do you get that?
You can go online and order that.
And
You
what
can
what again
order
was that?
one is called zeolite, 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 and one is called azomite, which is Azamite. And those two things will put all of the minerals and the nutrients into your soil. And another thing that you can do that's really, really beneficial, what you want in your soil is the mycorrhiza, which are the bacterias that are beneficial. And one of the best ways to put that into your soil is it's called biochar, which is charcoal basically. And it's easy to make your own charcoal. You can start a log on fire and then drench it with water before it all burns away. You let the impurities burn out, and what's left is charcoal. And if you quench the fire, it leaves you with a charcoal log. And the charcoal will not break down in the soil. It will last literally for hundreds of years. In fact,
Do you just plant that log then inside your soil?
no, you don't.
Oh,
What you do, and you can also use charcoal briquettes, but you have to be very careful that it's 100% wood. You don't want any other petroleum or other products in your charcoal. If you're going to put it in your garden, you just want pure charcoal wood. What you do is you take a hammer and you break it up into small pieces, as fine as you can. And then you have to inoculate it. And what you do is you put it in a bucket and put water in the bucket, and then take some, if you have compost, put compost in the bucket. If you don't have compost, you take banana peels and onion skins and kitchen waste, you put it in the bucket and put a lid on it and let that deteriorate, and it will produce the bacteria that will live in the charcoal, that will be in your soil, that will utilize the azomite and the zeolite that you put in for all of the mineral content. And then the roots of your plants will feast on those things, and you'll have really, really healthy plants. And you'll have all of the nutrients in your plants. And when you eat your own food, you're not getting any of the chemicals and the things that are toxic to our system.
I'm really intrigued by this, and I'm so intrigued because I've made all the mistakes. I bought a Champion juicer and I was juicing carrots, and I had all this carrot pulp, and I thought, well, I hate this carrot pulp to go to waste, so I put it around all of the base of my trees and my plants, and hoping that it would fertilize the ground and it would make the plants grow. And I attracted a whole herd of deer and rabbits that came to feast on my plants. And I was like, man, I just made all the mistakes. I made all this fun stuff that just attracted all these wild animals. Now they're eating all my plants.
Let's talk about juice for just a moment while we're there.
Okay.
There's some juices that are really, really good for you, healthy for you. For example, carrot juice or apple juice or plum juice, or different various like blackberry juice and blueberry juice and all of these juices. And that's okay. But the way things are produced in nature is always better.
Mm.
And so if you extract the juice out of things and leave the pulp, and then you can put the pulp in your compost bin and kind of recycle it. But if you make what I like to do is make a green drink where I put in green leafy vegetables and carrots and beets and all of those things, and I just blend them up. Now, there are blenders that are basically, they run on 400 watts. If you walk into a store and buy an osterizer or a blender, it will run at about 400 watts, and that will not produce a good product for you. You want a high-speed blender. I would say a minimum of 1,200 watts and upwards of 3,000 watts. I think some of the really high-end blenders are $300 or $400, but you can get a nice blender for about $100 that will just make vegetables a drink. You can drink your vegetables. And so if you enjoy juices like carrot juice or apple juice, put them into your green drink. And then you drink those juices with the fibers and the elements of all of the foods that will put the right combination in the right balance into your body. If you drink just, for example, like straight carrot juice, it's really high in sugar content and your blood sugar will spike. You want to keep your blood
And
sugar.
I think part of that is because we've removed the fiber from it. And the fiber is what actually your digestive process needs in order to break that down and to slow the insulin process down. So I'm really glad that you mentioned going from a juicer to a whole food blender. And I think that's what you're looking for when you go to buy the high-end blender, is a whole food blender where you can throw the whole apple or the whole carrot in, and it crunches it up so that you have the fiber that goes in with it instead of just the juice. And then go skinny on it. Like, don't make it all fruits and vegetables. But like you said, when you throw in all your spinach and your kale and all that stuff, to throw in a banana with it will then sweeten it in a natural sort of way so that you don't need any artificial sweeteners. And one of the things as a house cleaner that I found to keep my energy up through the entire day is if I mix it with water, not milk, no dairy products, it doesn't sour then like milk products sour. And I can put it inside a bottle and then put it inside my cleaning caddy. And then all throughout the day, I just have a couple of sips here and a couple of sips there. And it will keep my blood sugar levels up enough that I've got the sustained energy throughout the day without it spiking my blood sugar levels, and then without my blood sugar levels crashing because it's just a couple of sips throughout the day, but it's that natural energy that then is sustained through the course of time. And because of the fiber that's in it, it slows the insulin process down. So I love the fact that you brought that up, because we did actually switch from juicing to the whole food blender, and that's 2 of our 3 meals a day for that very reason. And I want to throw something out. This is not for sale, so y'all are unlucky if you're watching this. But Omuugn has a process where he dries and dehydrates a lot of the greens from his garden. And I'm one of the special people on his list where I get a bag of those each year that I'm able to then mix with my green drinks every day. And if it wasn't for experiencing the greens every single day, and you can buy greens online, but I actually get them from Omuugn's garden as a member of being on the inside. But it is 2 of my meals a day. And I love that because I feel like I'm really getting the nutrients that I need sustained throughout the day because of the mixture of the whole foods. And I mix that green drink with my own spinach and bananas. So that kind of fills it up, and then just water. So
Yeah, we could talk the whole time about food because there's so many different techniques to grow the food properly, to prepare it properly, to juice it, and to get the maximum benefit. But the idea behind it all is that the food has energy in it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to extract the energy from our foods into our bodies. And so one thing that we need to be really careful of is that scientists have created products that are not natural. We're getting into an era of genetically modified food where we have butter substitutes like margarine. We have cooking oils that have replaced olive oil and avocado oil and coconut oil and some of the natural oils with hydrogenated things that are they're actually poisonous to our body. If you eat margarine instead of butter, you're actually poisoning your body. You're actually making your body acidic, and you're putting things into your body that your body really can't utilize. And so I would encourage everyone to move away from sugar-free things because they've replaced sugar with sucralose and all these different artificial sweeteners that are they're proven to be really detrimental to your health. And so if
So
you're going
I
to
want to say that again so that we don't miss that, and then correct me if I'm wrong, if I got it wrong. We want to move away from sugars, and we want to move away from sugar substitutes. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Because both of them have a tendency to cause harm to your body.
right, we could do a whole program on sugar. There are 8 essential sugars that
Wait,
causes
stop. I think we will do one on just sugar. Today we're still talking about energy, but I think we will come back and do a whole entire show on sugar because that's really important. And while it does affect your energy, we have a couple things we have to cover, and we're so running out of time. Is that
Oh, I
fair?
know. Like I say, all of these topics are a book in and of themselves.
I know.
What we're doing is just we're highlighting areas that you need to think about and be aware of. And so
Well,
I
you've given
expect
us some good ones today about the breathing techniques, about the awareness, about the mindful meditations, and about watching what you bring into your diet, because that's what you're going to expel for the rest of the day in terms of energy. I do want to ask a couple other questions, and one of them that is really important because it is in your book, and it's one that we can't get away from. And I told our audience at the top of the show we would cover it, so we must. We should free ourselves from persons and situations that drain our energy. So if we can go back to that, knowing what we know, taking care of our own physical anatomy, how do we deal with when we come in contact with someone else and they are a sucker and they suck away our energy? How do we deal with that?
oh, there are a lot of different ways. Um, I'll tell you one thing. We had a neighbor who was a very, very negative person, had a lot of medical problems, and a heavy user of tobacco,
Mm.
and just depressed all of the time. And every time this person would come around, there was all this stuff that you had to listen to. So what we did, we learned that if we would remain doing what we were doing, for example, if I were out working in the yard, I would say, "Hey, as long as you're here," I'd hand her a rake and say, "Why don't you help me rake the lawn?" And just put her to busy, make her doing what project we were working on. And so instead of just standing there and complaining, she began to help and do things that we were working on. So have them help you do whatever you're doing, which is a positive thing. It gets their energy flowing because they're doing some physical activity and they're not just standing there with stagnant energy being depressed. So if you're an energetic person and you have a vibrant attitude, after a while, people that are depressed are going to either change or move away from that. They're not going to stay depressed being around you because you're not a depressed person.
I love that.
So you're inundating them with just positive energy. And if you're taking ice baths and eating all of this food, you do have energy to spare. You don't want someone just to suck all of your positive energy away.
No, but
But
what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, let me make sure I got this right. What you did when you have positive energy and the negative person came into your life and they're like, with all the negative energy, and you created a dam that said, okay, that's it. I'm going to block this energy right here. And what happened is it had to redirect. And so when you have a dam and everything backs up beyond that, what happens is it has to create a new path. And so this person comes to you and you blocked it, and now we have to redirect. And they're like, what just happened? Without even probably consciously being aware of it. And so then she said, well, that's what we're doing now is we're raking the garden or we're watering plants. And you gave her a new outlet for that energy, which then created a redirect. And now she has a choice. I can either go back to being negative, which means I'm not helping out here and I'm not welcome here, or I can redirect and I can pick up a rake and I can start participating in this new way that we're doing things. Is that kind of about right?
oh, absolutely. And along that same line, instead of telling people not to do things, share principles with them that would be beneficial. For example, you can talk about energy and you can talk about attitude and you can talk about all of these things that will give these people an idea to live differently. If they don't want to hear all of these positive things, they will shun you and they will leave and they will go out of your life. So people are around us for a reason. And the reason is so that we can bless them in various different ways. So instead of letting them control the environment, you want to control your own environment, which brings us to another thing of energy, which the Eastern people have brought feng shui into our awareness, where you can actually design your environment so that energy flows through the environment. When you walk into a room, you want to feel at peace, at harmony. You want to feel balance. You want to feel like you can integrate with the environment. If you walk into an environment that's chaotic and there's dirty laundry on the floors and the bed's not made and dirty dishes in the sink and your whole life is just chaotic, that does not give you the tranquility and the peace and the harmony and balance that you want in your life. So you have to be aware of the energy of the spaces that you're in. And if the spaces don't have that kind of energy, then you need to redesign the space and you need to infuse the space with the kind of energy that you want to receive from the space. A lot of people use essential oils for that. They will actually take essential oils and they'll have them in atomizers so that it's being infused into the air that you breathe, and putting essential oils on your skin and so that you can on your clothes so that you smell fragrances and things that are just really peaceful and they bring you joy and they make you feel different.
Is it
Uh,
because the sense is triggered by the smell and that brings then your awareness of a different space or a different attitude to the room?
well, all of our senses have a particular function. For example, we talked about food. If you actually taste your food and enjoy your food, you assimilate the prana or the energy from that food. If you consciously breathe and control your breath, you extract the energy from the air and the water. People actually put toxic poisons in our water, like fluoride. And sometimes they put it in like chlorine to kill the germs. You want to have a filtering system in your house if you're in one of those areas so that you can filter out all of the impurities and the toxic things. Everything you take into your body should support your idea of health and wellness and vibrancy and energy. If you want to have a lot of energy in your body, in your environment, in the foods that you eat, you have to take charge of all of those areas because they will usually not occur naturally. In the olden days, when my grandmother was a child, things like heart disease and diabetes and cancer, you'd only hear about them once in a great while. And now heart disease is the main killer, and cancer is prevalent in our society. And everyone is either diabetic or pre-diabetic or overweight in some way. Not everyone, but many, many people, where in the earlier societies, people were farming and working and they were eating butter and fat from the animals and what we would consider a kind of a gross diet, but they were healthy and strong and they weren't overweight. And now with all of the success that we have with scientific advancements, now we have heart disease and diabetes and cancer and all of the conditions that we have created with the kinds of water that we drink and the polluted air. Why would people dump chemicals in our air to affect the global warming that we don't want to talk about? They put poisons, insecticides, herbicides on the food that we eat. They genetically modify everything. If you want to really be healthy and strong and vibrant and full of energy, you have to take control of your life, every aspect of your life. You have to learn how to breathe. You have to learn how to eat. You need to learn how to control your environment, to control the people that are around you. You are responsible for your life, and you have the ability to create any kind of a life that you want. And you want your life to be full of vibrancy and energy and excitement and passion and love, and you want to work on projects that you're excited about, and you want to watch things grow, and you want to nibble in your garden while you're out working and just enjoy the taste of things. Life is really exciting and vibrant, and the things that you think about and the resonant frequency. Every person has a resonant frequency. It's like turning a channel on a TV. And that's the program that you're going to experience, is the channel that you're tuned to. So you want to raise your vibrations. You want to think about the things that you want to manifest in your life. You don't want to think about things that are problematic or limitations or things that you can't have or things that you don't want. You don't want to worry about things and stress about things. Life is to enjoy. Life is to just be excited about. Life holds all kinds of possibilities, and we want the energy to interface with those possibilities in effective ways. So
Man,
energy
this is
is
good. This is so good, and our time is up. What one or two things would you ask our listeners to do this week as an exercise to enhance their energy as they go about their day-to-day chores?
to be aware of your energy. Be aware of your self-talk. Is it negative? Is it positive? How do you feel? Do you feel lethargic? Do you feel like you need more energy to do things? Just become aware of the conditions of your life. Be aware of the environment that you're in, the people that you're around. Be aware of things. And when you're aware that something needs to be changed, change it. That's the thought for this week. You're in charge of changing the things that need to be changed in your life.
I love that. Thank you so much, Omuugn, for joining us today for the concept on energy and how to manage it in our lives. Again, we're reading from the Insights and Wisdom of Omuugn, and we are here every Saturday at the same time, same place, so that we can unpack the next lesson and dig into some of the deeper concepts that maybe we didn't get from the insights inside the book. But the book is full of doctrine, it's full of insights, it's full of poems. It's got some really great information that will help you get from point A to point B on your journey through life. So please, once again, thank you so much, Omuugn. We've enjoyed your conversation today. And I do want to thank everybody that showed up and everybody that's watching our replay. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you